Okay, hello everybody. We're going to go ahead and get started. This is the September 2019 HMIS user meeting. We have a fairly short agenda for you today. Before we get started, please enter your agency name in the chat box so we can know who is attending. And so here's our agenda. We have a quick update on a new field for Children's and Families Commission funded projects. We wanted to go over the data meeting agenda with you. We have some new forms and documents to share, as well as an update on the data standards training, as well as agency audits. And if you have any burning questions regarding HMIS, we can go over those at the end of the meeting. So first up, the new field for Children's and Families Commission projects. Adriana?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hello. Good morning, everybody. Well, as Erin said, there's a new field for Children's and Family Commissions of Orange County. So this needs to be collected for all clients that are active as of 7/11/19 of this year. And this new field is the client's primary language. So there's a new question that has been already added to the entry screen. So as you can see there, and they need to be answered for all the clients that answer yes to the question that is this client receiving services founded by the Children's and Family Commissions of Orange County. As I said, this data must need collected for all active clients as July 1st of this year. And if you're not sure who are the clients that need to collect this information, just let us know, and we run a report for you. Just enter a ticket. Is there any questions about that?
I'm not seeing anything. The only thing I wanted to add is if you are getting Children's and Families Commission funding, you may have already received a request from them for your primary language data for the past year. But you don't need to worry about any of that data in HMIS. It's only for clients active as of July 1st of this year moving forward. And I'm not seeing any more questions, so I'm going to move on.
Okay, thank you.
Next up is Casey. Casey?
Yes.
Hi.
Hi. Can I share my screen?
Yeah.
Okay. So we have decided to kind of start going over the agenda for the Data and Performance Management Subcommittee meetings, which are the second Thursday of every month. Yes.
Casey.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing your screen. Oh, there you go.
Okay. Okay. So for this month, we have kind of a lighter agenda. The first item is going to be the project performance reports for PSH and OPH projects. The reporting period was August of 2018 through July of this year. And these are all the included measures. We will also be discussing the implementation of a data quality plan for the COC, which is something we and the county have been discussing at some community of practice webinars with HUD. So we'll be discussing that at the meeting. And then possibly if there's time, we will talk about the possibility of sharing case notes among the entire COC and HMIS again. So if you feel strongly about either of any of this information, definitely try to come to the meeting. And we will be sending out a reminder email about the meeting next week.
And also about the case note sharing. So we've already reached out to a couple agencies that we know have a case notes template that they're using for their agency. And if your agency has a case notes template, please send it to us by Friday. So what we're trying to do is standardize the data that's entered into HMIS through the case notes and develop a template that the whole COC can use. So if you have a template already, it would be helpful to see that to help us develop that. So if you have one and you feel like sharing, please send it to the help desk. And I'm not seeing any questions on, oh, hold on. Does it seem like it will go in the direction of open case notes? It kind of, in a word, yes, I guess. The goal, I think, is to eventually share case notes, but it would only be new case notes moving forward. It wouldn't be all historical notes that you have already entered, because that would we can't verify what's in those notes easily. So it would be working on standardizing what we include in the case notes, and then moving forward, share those notes. And there would continue to be an option for the note to only be visible to your agency if necessary, but that is where we want to try to get to. Another question, OCHA does not use these. Would we be asked to start adding notes? As of now, it wouldn't be so much as requiring everybody to put in case notes. The goal would be, if you're using the case notes functionality, this is the way that you should be using it and sharing them. But I think we need to have more conversation around it as a community, and is that something we want to require from all the agencies, or should it still be optional? I was originally intending for it to be optional, but the community may have a different thought on it. Any idea when this will be implemented? No, not yet. We still need to, there's some things that we need to figure out also with BitFocus, because we would have to work with them to make all of our historical case notes private. And then we would have to only be sharing case notes moving forward. So that part still needs to be figured out. And then we still have to talk more with the community on if it's required for everybody, if it's optional, what we want the format of the case notes to look like, and how to ensure that the case notes are unbiased, because that was a big concern for the community, and making sure that the client isn't denied services or receives you know, a different standard of care because of what's in the case notes. So I wouldn't say it's going to be implemented anytime soon, but there'll definitely be you'll definitely be notified before we do move forward with it. So will we be expected to use the standardized case notes template, or will we be able to use our own? I think the goal is to have a standard template in order to ensure that data isn't, or information isn't being shared on the client that shouldn't be shared. So maybe that's part of the conversation, is that any case notes that follow the standard template can be shared, and any that don't should be private to your agency only. So we'll talk about that also. I think ideally everything would be in that format and shared in order to allow other agencies to know who has served the client and how they've been served, to for the continuity of care and making sure that the client is getting what they need to get housed. Does Clarity have capability to do a template drop-down? Not for case notes, unfortunately. The other option I was considering was just having the services set up in HMIS and then the agency adding notes to those services, and those would be shared, because I think it would allow a little more focus around whatever you're providing to the client. But the feedback I had received was that case notes should be shared also, and there isn't a template or anything, it's just a blank text box. So there would need to be some training around what is in that full template. Good questions, everybody. And yeah, we'll for sure be talking about it at the data meeting. I'm hoping we'll have enough time at this one in September. If not, it will definitely be in October. But I'm hoping in September. Okay, seems like questions have slowed down, Casey.
Okay, so we're going to go on to our new forms, which are not really new, it's just a different format. So just as a reminder to always visit our website for the latest version of HMIS forms and documents, because we sometimes update the documents and post them on the website. So you get to it by clicking on the HMIS Documents button in the sidebar. And here's our Forms and Documents page. The forms that we're going to go over are all down here. They're all setup-related forms. So for a couple of months, you guys have gotten used to using the digital program setup form. Nothing about this one has changed so much, other than you can now add as many grants as you want and as many services as you want without having to fill out another form. And you can also add multiple projects on the same form. So that remains the same. This is a new form for us. We didn't even have a paper version of this before. So this form is for when you want to add a custom field to HMIS. So we ask for your name, a description of what you're trying to collect, how you want to collect it, and then where you want the information to be collected in HMIS. And as you can see, there's a lot of text on this form because this is a kind of cumbersome process. So just make sure to go through the form, and any other questions you have or anything that isn't covered in the form, you can add in the comments box. You can add multiple custom fields in the same form. And with all of these forms, when you submit a form, a ticket gets created in the HMIS help desk. So sometimes we have users who will submit an additional ticket letting us know that they submitted a form. That's fine if that makes you more comfortable, just so you remember when you submitted the form. But even if you don't submit a ticket, we will get back to you about it because we are notified automatically when you submit any form. And then the last three are basically digital translations of our former paper forms. So now you can digitally deactivate projects and request that users' accounts be locked. You can add as many users as you need to at one time. Oh, and when you fill out a project closeout form, your executive director's contact information is required in the form, and we will notify them when these forms get submitted, just so that they're aware that a project is being deactivated. And the last one is the data request form. So this is for data requests that need to go to the data subcommittee meeting and possibly the COC board. So this is for requests for data that is outside of your agency's data. And I think that's it.
Yes, so just to add a little more context around the data request form. So that's if you need data on the COC as a whole, or like all clients in the South County service planning area or something like that. So you don't need this if it's a request for data at your agency, but it's if you want a bigger picture data, you would need to fill this out. And then we got another question OCHA has consolidated many of our grants in the 2018 NOFA cycle. Will we need to do a setup form for those consolidated grants? No, Christine, because when you consolidate COC funded grants, we kind of merge them into one. We don't create a new project. We just move the clients from the grants that are ending into the one that is continuing, and then we just rename it. So no, you just need to let us know when you submit your APRs for all of the grants under the consolidated project, and then we can do that for you. I'm not seeing any more questions. Okay. Ira?
Hi, can everyone hear me?
Yeah, do you want me to share my screen or do you want to share yours?
Your screen's fine.
All right.
Okay, so good morning, everyone. As we stated in the last meeting, we are preparing to release the 2020 HMIS Data Standards Training. They will be available on our training site on September 17th, so be sure to mark your calendars. Users will need to complete the general 2020 HMIS training that will include information that will pertain to everybody, but you will also be required to complete any supplemental trainings for your agency by September 30th. The new data elements will be live on Clarity by October 1st. So we want to make sure that everyone's well informed on those updates. Any new users, as in anyone who has not completed any HMIS training prior to September 17th, will need to complete HMIS Part 1 and 2 training, along with the supplemental trainings that pertain to their agency. The HMIS Part 1 and 2 trainings have been updated with new information from the general HMIS 2020 standards, so that will be included within their training, and that new updated training will be released on September 17th as well. So as a recap, new users will only need to take Part 1 and 2 because that has been updated, along with supplemental training to their agency, and any users that had accounts prior to September 17th will need to take the general 2020 HMIS training, as well as any supplemental training that pertains to their agencies. And if you want to go to the next slide. So I just made a quick chart to kind of just do a quick overview as to what updates are going to be discussed in the training. I kind of wanted to stress that most of the updates are pretty minor. So for example, data elements 4.06 on developmental disability and 4.08 HIV/AIDS, the updates is that the following questions. The follow-up question for clients that identify as having one or the other typically reads expected to substantially impair ability to live independently has been removed. So a lot of the other updates include more responses to certain data elements and elimination of other data response options to other data elements. So for the most part, it's pretty minor. We don't expect the trainings to take too much time. So that's why we're hoping to get it all completed by September 17th. Any questions?
So the general training you're expecting is going to take about a half an hour?
Yeah, no more than that.
And then the supplemental trainings for the federal funding sources will take less time than that too.
Of course.
All right, let me see if there's any questions. Oh, I've lost my chat box. Oh, there it is. Will an email be sent out as a reminder? Of course, Jessica. Yeah, we will definitely be sending an email. This information will be in the meeting minutes, and then we'll send a separate email outside of the meeting minutes notifying all the agencies when the trainings are available and providing links and letting you know again who needs to complete what training. So you have it. in your inbox. All right. I'm not seeing any more questions.
Okay.
Agency audits.
Hello, everybody.
Hey there.
Hi. So the annual HMIS agency audits are coming up again. Agency audits, if you're not aware of what they are, they're meetings between 2-in-1 HMIS staff and an agency administrator. And during these meetings, we ensure that your agency is complying with the HMIS policies and procedures, and we also go over any HMIS questions you may have. So we've made changes to the agency audit section of the policies and procedures that states that the audit checklist must be sent 1 month prior to the meeting. And we made these changes to expedite the agency audit scheduling process. We have to have these changes approved. So after the policies and procedures is approved, audits will begin to be scheduled. You can expect the audits to start in late September or early October. So look out for an email from us to schedule your agency audit. And just wanted to say that we look forward to meeting with you. Are there any questions about agency audits?
And just to clarify, the policies and procedures have to be approved by the COC board. So they've been going through legal review with the county staff, and then they'll be presented to the COC board at the special meeting next week. And hopefully they'll be approved, and then we can move on with scheduling all the audits. And you will be given copies of all of the updated forms, as well as the updated audit checklist, so you know what to expect during the audit. We did get a follow-up question about the data standards. The deadline for completing the training. So if a user that already has an HMIS account prior to September 17th hasn't completed the training by September 30th, they'll be locked until they complete the training. So you'll have until September 30th to complete the training, and then your account will be locked until the training gets completed. Any questions about the audits? And just to provide a timeline, the audits usually take between 1 hour and 2 hours, depending on if your agency has multiple locations. That's usually what causes it to take a little bit longer, but they're fairly short. Let's see. I'm not seeing any other questions. So now we have some time for Q&A. If there's anything in HMIS that you would like to ask questions about or see a quick demo on, we can go over that now. If you have any questions about anything we just presented, we can definitely talk about that also. But other than that, that was all the content we had for today. So I'll wait a few minutes to see if any questions come in. If you haven't already, please enter your agency name in the chat box so we know who's attending. And we'll give it a couple minutes. Okay, it looks like no new questions are coming in, so I'm going to end the meeting. We will be sending out the meeting minutes and a link of this recording to everyone sometime this week. And if you're available, please plan to attend the data and performance management meeting next week. And the next user meeting is going to be, let me look up the date. October 2nd. And we will send them a meeting reminder along with the agenda prior to that meeting also. So thanks for attending, everybody, and we will talk to you. Oh, we did get a question. Which program data will be reviewed at next week's data meeting? This will be permanent supportive housing and other permanent housing. And if your agency has these project types, you should have already received the data corrections for those measures. This data will be published on our website, and we'll be looking at how each project is progressing over time, as well as how the project types as a whole are progressing. So please plan to attend that meeting, and we will notify everyone a couple days before the meeting when the data has been published also. Will the agency be able to review updated data before it's made public? So the corrections have already been sent, and then so we are going to be running the data again, and we do post it, or we do notify you when the data has been published, and that's usually maybe the Monday or Tuesday prior to the data meeting, which is on Thursdays. So you'll be able to review it prior to the meeting. And then if anything were to come up, if you noticed an error on our part, we can definitely go in and update that. But that's how you'll be reviewing the data prior to the data meeting. All right, so looks like questions have stopped, so I'm going to go ahead and end the meeting. Please look for the meeting minutes in your email this week, and we will see you next time, everybody. Thank you.